I get started, I have to do something. Alexa, turn off speakers.
Okay.
Little bit of cloud humor. That's why I'm here today, as a matter of fact. I'm here to talk about Dell EMC's cloud framework. So this is something we've been developing for many years, and the cloud is never going to go away, and we're always going to develop on those platforms. But how are we going to do it? Where are we going to get the information to build what you, our customers, such as Modine, want? And how are we going to build out that cloud framework? Well, we did a study with IDC of 4,000 executives worldwide, and what did we learn from that? Well, we learned that 92% of the executives that took part in this study believe that they are or will be moving into the hybrid cloud in the near future. And that 93% of those same executives believe that they're in 2+ clouds today. And I think that's really where Modine is today, right? So we just did a tech profile about a week ago. We're going to be back to present that in about a week to you guys. And, we looked at your cloud initiatives and found that you are in many different clouds. And that adds to a consistency, right? So whether you're in AWS, Azure, consuming SaaS applications, infrastructure as a service, there doesn't seem to be a consistent experience. Well, 83% of the executives agree that they need to have a consistent experience that is critical to their success of their customers wanting to consume not only what they make, but what their services and products that they provide. And let's not forget that those same executives said about 75% of their budget and 90% of their IT's time is just keeping the lights on. Let's talk about keeping the lights on. So I buy a server at Modine today from Dell. That server gets shipped. I rack and stack that server in the location, whether it's in my data center or robo site. I build it out, I add security to it, and then I allow users to start to access that resource. How long does that take? Well, that's what that 75% of your budget and 90% of your time consists of. So how are we going to change that? It's really Dell's service delivery model. That's the basis of our cloud foundation. So we want to make something that is simple to use, something that's agile, and something that's innovative. So if you have those three things, I can get my products to my internal or external customers faster. They're simple to use. I have the agility to put them on any platform, which gives me time to innovate. Sounds like utopia. Well, that's something we want to help you develop. So we do this by creating a self-service portal. But that portal has to have business rules. Business rules are the most important thing about a self-service portal, as a matter of fact. Because without them, you might as well give credit cards to every employee and then go out to AWS or Azure and just consume everything they want. That's bad. Because there's no orchestration or automation behind it. So you're not really changing anything you're doing today, you're just adding to the chaos. And what do we call that self-service portal with business rules that has automation and orchestration behind it? We call it our cloud foundation stack. And what is that cloud foundation stack? Well, it makes up all 7 of our companies that I'll talk about a little bit later. And it allows you to not only move between AWS, Azure, Google, any of the other CSPs, somewhere in the neighborhood of 4,300, throughout the globe. It allows you to move in between all of those, but also your private cloud. Because the most important thing about a cloud solution is that I want to own my cloud foundation so I could turn the cloud into a utility model. I want to be able to move from AWS to my private cloud, to Azure, to Google, wherever I want to, as long as I own the data and I own the cloud foundation stack or the software that drives the automation and orchestration. I can bring my workloads anywhere. What does that give you? It gives you a hybrid cloud experience is what it gives you, which 92% of the executives think that they have, and 93% of them think they have multiples. So don't you want to give that consistent experience that they find is critical? And what about the private cloud? So how do we bring that private cloud into this cloud foundation stack so I can bring a workload from my private cloud, develop it internally, push it out externally, grow externally, or bring it back if I feel I'm spending too much money in the cloud at that particular time? Well, you do that through our 3 different ways to consume our cloud foundation stack. But it really comes down to what your level of effort is. So level of effort brings us to, do you want to build the environment? Building isn't bad. I had erector sets growing up. I used to love building things. They were fantastic. And, Modine builds things every day. You're a manufacturer that bends metal and builds things and gives it to your other businesses so they can integrate it into their products. So building is important. And we give you products to do that. Whether it's software-defined networking, software-defined compute, software-defined storage, and don't forget data protection, we give you all that. And that is really the software-defined data center, which is fantastic. But that only saves you about 10% of the time. So, that 90% of the time to keep the lights on, well, looks like you're only saving about 10% with the build. So what we want to do is we want to take it a step further and give you a buy mentality. Great thing about a buy mentality is you're getting a converged infrastructure or a hyper-converged infrastructure that allows you to take all of those great things in the software-defined compute, networking, and storage, and data protection, and put that into a rack or appliance-based architecture so you can push it out faster, easier, more simply, be agile to allow you to innovate. And what's that going to save you? About 50% of the time. So 90% of the time to keep the lights on now is down to 45. Pretty sure your CIO is going to love that number, and your CFO is going to look, wow, I can reduce budget because we're actually innovating and bringing new products that allow us to do things faster, so I can take the time of the IT staff and move them to do something that's actually creating money for my organization. That sounds fantastic. You want to take that a step further, you can actually consume. Just like you can consume in the cloud model, you can consume that on-premise as well. So whether that is, I want somebody to maintain my cloud infrastructure on-prem, I can do that. And I will do that in my consumption model. So it's no different than paying Amazon to manage the cloud infrastructure. We could do it in your internal data center as well. And that's our Dell Technology consumption model. And that's awesome. You will save 90% of that time. And if time's important to you, the consumption model is very important. You're going, Jeff, that's great. So you're telling me that in the build methodology, you guys got the best in breed products. You're spending $5 billion a year in R&D, which is great. You're giving me the best of software-defined everything. Yes, I am, and you could build that on your own. Well, that's great, but you're also giving me a build or a buy where I can go to no different than going to a car lot, buying a car, put my keys in, and I could drive off the lot with this, and it's that easy? Yes, we can. And that's with our converged and hyper-converged infrastructure. And then, yes, you can consume that as well. You can lease that car so you don't even have to pay it, and you can return it when you're done with it. Isn't that great? Yeah, that's great. But what's next? How do I get there? What's the starting line? Well, the starting line, in Dell's opinion, is really, are you looking at a use case-based model, or are you looking at a greenfield model? We can do both things, right? So we can give you a greenfield data center and robo-site solution that allows you to just replace everything and move your workloads from point A to point B and do it very simply. And we can provide you with all the services to do that. And then we can also provide you with a use case-based solution as well. So that use-based case solution allows you to start the solution very small. And by starting that solution small, keeps the cost down, still gives you the same self-service portal, the business rules, the automation and orchestration, ties into AWS, ties into Azure, allows you to start with smaller footprints, and allows you to grow that as you decommission your old applications and servers and infrastructure, so you don't have to spend all that money day one. So sounds great. Jeff, what's the outcomes? Because everybody needs an outcome, right? You can't do anything without an outcome in mind. Well, our outcome is saving you money. So according to the IDC studies that we did, we found that 47% is in savings as compared if you moved everything to public cloud as compared to the private cloud. So that's very important, right? So you can go to your executives and your board and go, we have a study and we've done the work internally through our methodology to say we can save 47% as opposed to moving everything in the public cloud. And we actually own our infrastructure. We own the cloud foundation stack. So if today AWS is cheaper than Amazon, we can move there, which is fantastic. Another part of that study that came out was 24% reduction in your all-in IT costs. Now, every CIO and CFO will be ecstatic if you can go to them and say, hey, Mr. CIO, CFO, I want to save you 24%. You could actually take it out of my budget next year because we put a solution in that's going to be able to save us that money. You're going to be a hero. Or, hopefully, they take that money and they reinvest that in the organization to innovate even further. So what does all that give you? Well, it gives you 4 times faster to market. So I can, instead of buying a server, installing the server, putting security on it, adding users on it, managing that server, letting it out into the world, we manage a cloud foundation stack that I can open up a help desk ticket to. I can create a container based on my help desk ticket. It is provided to me within a very short time frame, hours or days instead of months. And then I can start doing my work to create products to get to my customers or solutions to get to my customers so I can go to market faster. That is going to add to the bottom line of the company. It's going to add to the transformation of not only the human resources, but the physical IT resources as well. So, your IT staff that is now spending the time keeping the lights on now has time to focus on innovating with their partners inside the organization and outside the organization to actually add to the bottom line of the company, which is why we're all here, right? Which is why the blue smiley face is there. Because with transformation comes happiness. If everything's simpler, if everything is very agile, and you can innovate, everybody will be happy. So you're asking me, what now? So we have our starting line. We've got this great cloud foundation framework. Dell Technologies, yes. We've got the products, we've got the solutions, we've got the services. What now? Well, we're already on step 1. We've done the tech profile. We're going to present that back to you in a week. And outside of that, it's going to come some great conversation. And then we're going to pick on the areas that we need to do assessments on. These aren't heavy lift assessments. These are things that are going to be automated that we just want to go validate what we believe we found with the tech profile. Because if we don't have validation and data to back up that, we're never going to be able to make a financial profile. And without a financial profile, you're not going to be able to go to your executives and your board and ask for funding to do something that hasn't been done in the organization before. Because you need proof. So we're going to give you the profile. We're going to give you the assessment. We're going to give you a financial solution that proves that you are bringing in TCOs and ROIs to the organization that allows you to do those 3 things that are super important to your executives. Have a hybrid cloud. Be in multiple clouds. Have a consistent experience. So that's our goal here at Dell EMC, and we're going to wrap that up with an executive briefing center visit so we can show your board, your executives, and everybody that does the day-to-day work, step A all the way to step Z, and show you how simple it can be to be part of this new Dell Technologies cloud framework. So thank you for your time. I'm going to end this as I started with the cloud. I'm going to end it with the cloud. Alexa, turn on speakers.
Okay.
Because you have to end with a little music. Alexa, trigger Vixen. Because we need a little bit of light change. Thank you for the time today. I appreciate it. Can't wait for next week to show you your tech profile. Thank you. Talk to you soon.